Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How are you doing this weekend? Good race, Saxon this
It
weekend.
was okay. Like it wasn't a fucking
Yeah, it wasn't
shredder.
super duper, but it was,
It
who got
wasn't a shredder.
spoiled? What it is,
Yeah.
you know?
I found myself flicking on to see was the Formula One starting, and at around halfway through it. You know what I mean? It's kind of a little bit of a bore. But then saying that, look, there was a few really good battles in it.
Hmm.
Um, I suppose first and foremost, what the fuck did Frankie have for breakfast?
Yeah, whatever he has.
Like whatever he is, like was there a couple of lines of fucking cocaine or fucking whatever about it? Because he was fighting hard, like
I was just
Uh,
gonna say that, like doing the fantasy points and all of that. I was like, man, I may need to pick up Frankie because he's pretty
exactly.
consistent.
Yeah. Frankie was and it's good to see, right? Look, we've all given Frankie a hard time, and deservedly so, right? Do you know
Mhm.
what I mean? You're not performing, you know, you're as good as your last race, but whatnot, and he's starting to find his form. He's starting to find the switch over to a Ducati.
Mhm.
And again, uh, this is his first time on a V. So maybe the climatization would have taken longer. But today, I have to give it to him. He super impressed me with how aggressive he was, how much shit he would not take. Um, like battling, like the battle that he had with Mark was okay. Like the battle that he had with Enya was absolutely fantastic.
Mhm.
Being passed into the last corner, repassing into the first corner, like it was all. It reminded me of Valentino Rossi. It was like, okay, you're gonna pass me, I'm gonna fucking pass you. Do you know what I mean? And I'm gonna let you decide if we crash. And um, it was just good to see that race.
Frankie,
Um,
he's a fighter, man. Saw some fight in him today. That was
y-
nice.
yeah, maybe the fight was beaten out of him in the Yamaha. I don't know. And
Yeah, Ricardo.
obviously, obviously, then look, the start of his race season was not the best due to the crashing in Portimao and not completing tests. Do you know what I mean? Or the testing. So I don't know. I think it's pretty interesting on that. Mark was really good today. Really good. I was a little bit fearful for him after yesterday and obviously after Friday's crash, which I did see Matt Axley put out saying though that we're going on about that there was people going on about show riders being prima donnas and this, that, and the other, and you know that they can just twist the throttle and the electronics will save them. And well, that is the whole point of the electronics, firstly and foremostly, right? That
That's what they call it rider aids. Yeah.
yeah. It is like that they can whack the fucking throttle and it won't kill them, right? If you remove it, they'll fucking nuke them every fucking corner, right? So,
Mhm.
um, but he did a long post about all of this, and I'm like, when I was reading it, I was just like, well, look, right, the rider snaps the fucking throttle. The electronics makes up its mind whether I'm not going to give you all that power, or okay, I'm going to give you that power. Obviously, sometimes the electronics get fucking confused. Mark came through that and like he fucking launched himself. And I was just sitting there and I actually thought, looking at him in the gravel, I was like, is this a big bang like he had out in, what's that place?
Jerez,
Oh,
No,
no, no.
no.
Starts with an M.
Mandalika.
Mandalika, yeah,
Manolika, yes.
and like, is he going to have a diplopia issue now coming up?
First
Because
thing
Oh
came to
yeah, I
mind,
forgot.
yes.
it's just like fuck. Anyway, if it is, and you could see him then on, you could see him after, and then you could see him on Saturday morning getting on the bike. You could see he was even struggling to breathe. So, like when you look at it, like today's race was actually was
Yeah.
actually interesting in the lower half of the field when we got to see it. You know what I mean? But we didn't get to see an awful lot of it. Um, but Mark and Alex, to be fair, they rode a great race, and I take the hats off to them. You
And
could
That
see
was
all right
yesterday,
though. You could see all right. Mark has mastered the Ducati and the tire wear, and you could definitely see it, like how he closed Alex. Like he was 2 seconds behind Alex with 5 laps to go or 4 laps to go or something, and he closed that gap really easily. Do you know what I mean? And went past him on pure acceleration before he even got to the brake zone. He was past him through the waterfall. So.
And that was what they call it. That would be, I think that was just adrenaline, and the pain went away for a moment, and that's why he passed Alex.
Oh, listen, look at that stage when he was chasing Alex down. He believed the podium was there, right?
Yeah.
So like that was definitely
adrenaline's a hell of a drug, painkiller.
Oh, it is. But again, it was a super clean move on his brother. Do you know what I mean? If that was someone else, he would have
knocked.
He would have rode through him for the podium.
Yeah.
Pecco Bagnaia, what can you really say about him? Like, do you know what I mean? He's just mature beyond his years. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you felt at the race. I felt at the first maybe 7 or 8 laps. I was like, maybe he just doesn't have the pace. Do you know? And then I was looking at his lines, and I was like, Jesus, he's really, really arcing the lines. Like he's not. So I was like, fuck, he's saving his tire.
Yeah,
and you watched Oliveira, you watched Franco, you watched Jorge Martin. The lines they were turning sharper, and you could see that they were putting force through the tires more so than Pecco was. And I was kind of like, I think it was like at around lap 22 or 23 to go, I was like, he'll have something at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially he did that one move where you could tell he had a ton of confidence, where he went kind of this way. He kind of went to the left and right, like in the middle of he didn't just pass somebody going straight. He kind of went left and right. You see that little cutie move he made?
Yeah, but like he was very, very comfortable, to be fair, and
he like drove around somebody, or rode around them.
And he was. I think it was it Franco, or I can't remember, but he was 1.2 seconds behind, and I think he passed Franco, and he was like 1 second behind, and I was like, all right, okay, it's like 10 laps to go, like that's a 10th. Do you know what I mean? And now you could see Martin had him in the first part of it, so Pecco had to make up. Like he was losing about a 10th in the first sector, and then Pecco had to make it up the rest of the way around, and he brought it down. Now, to be fair to Martin was being consistent, was holding it out. Martin's lap times were fucking metronomic. Like he was bang, 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 super consistent, really, really on it. But you had the Jaws music going, with 5 or 6 laps to go. And you could kind of like, okay, Pecco is going to close in, and is this going to be a battle like it was at the end of last year's race? And then the fucking shock, it's actually kind of funny sometimes, because you can hear the crash in the commentator's headsets.
Yeah.
You hear it, and you're like, fuck, someone's down anyway. Do you know what I mean? And fuck it, it's
he starts to catch Martin, and I'm thinking in his back of my head, I'm thinking somebody's going to go down. One of the two is going to go down. Either Martin's going to, push out too fast, and in fear of getting past, or Pecco's going to overstep the line.
Yeah.
One of the
But that's what happens more than likely is Jorge Martin crashes. But I was just thinking for a second, I saw Pecco trying to catch Martin. I'm like, we're gonna get a great battle at the end, and that would be perfect. But then then just came back to my mind that that's how Martin is. It's like he just kind of I don't want to say full throttle, but he just kind of just goes after it and just burns it all up.
I don't know. Is that right? Like I think Martin just has one switch. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like on. Right, and like he was just like boom, 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 because like as Pecco did close him, Martin did answer for a couple of laps. Do you know what I mean? And he did kind of, because it kind of went down into like 7 10s, and then kind of went back up, and then it went down to 6 10s, and then kind of came back up. And I was kind of like going, okay, actually, but I think where it is that Martin is always on the limit, and so is Pecco. But who is more comfortable on the limit? And it seems right now it's Pecco. Now, saying that, lads, let's be very fair and honest. Pecco fucking threw it down the road with no pressure in Barcelona, right? You know, he would have won the sprint race. Not an issue, not a problem. Made a mistake. You know, could be the same here. You know, now saying that, okay, there was like 5 laps to go. Bit of a difference of kind of like your mind wandering. Do you know what I mean? That your man's closing in. Like I either think it was definitely 1, it was pressure from Pecco, or 2, there was something up at he no grip on the front of the tire, where he used like, because it was going into the right hander, so the tires on the right hand corners is extremely soft, and you could see after 7 or 8 laps that the edges of the tires were starting to get bands on them. Do you know what I mean? So maybe it is a tire issue. I don't necessarily think it was. I think it was more pressure and trying to turn up the wick again and go further. I think that's what caused it.
But you know what? The way he went down, he seemed like he didn't just edge over. He seemed like he had a good amount over, because both tires let loose almost at once, and
well, the ground rushed up and hit him in the face. Yeah, the ground rushed up and hit him in the face. Like that was a smack. Like, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But 9 times out of 10, that's either a mistake on the brake or that the tire was just there was nothing there. Do you know what I mean? So, so like for that, but Miguel Oliveira is definitely someone I want to talk about, because look, we've given Miguel a bit of a hard time, and we have people out here in La world at times thinking, you know, Miguel is a great rider, and he is a very good rider, right? But again, we were hard on Miguel.
Yep.
As hard on Miguel, I should say, as we were on Franco Morbidelli or Jack Miller.
Everyone.
Right? They're not. If you're not performing, questions have to be asked. There is only a certain number of bikes in the world, and hundreds of millions of billions of people that want to be a MotoGP rider. Okay, so you know you're on a privileged seat.
You got to give you credit. We're very unbiased. We call it like a say. We're not.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it.
If you like it, fine. If you don't like it, well, just fine. You know.
See you on Tuesday. Yeah. Anyway, I think Miguel did really well this week, but it's a flash in the pan, I fear.
I was gonna say most of the Aprilias did well at this track. It seems like.
But see that's the thing, right? Miguel came out on Saturday after qualifying, and he said, well, I've got more Aprilia engineers now in my garage because Elish is not running this weekend, and they've been able to find some settings for me, and everything now has changed, and this is the start of a new thing. And I'm like,
oh, okay, yeah.
I'm like, do you ever see that young kid in the back seat of the car, and he's like, bullshit.
Right.
I was like, bullshit. And, you know, and I don't like to call a rider out like that, but like realistically, you know, firstly, he's on a factory supported bike, right? And they're going to give him everything that he needs to make sure that he performs, especially because he's performing badly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So then when I was looking at it, Miguel went well here last year on the Aprilia. I think he finished 3rd. Right? So he naturally gets on with this track. Do you know what I mean? It's naturally one of those ones that he likes and enjoys and whatnot. And you know, when you look at it, it's just he needs 5 or 6 more races and then make a sort of comment saying, yeah, we found something and the engineers are helping me and it's all this. But it was kind of taken in the context that it was Aprilia's fault for not supporting him. And it's just, and I'm like, I don't believe that for 1 second. If it was Aprilia were not supporting him, then he wouldn't have the factory bike or factory spec bike. Right. You know what I mean? He would be still with Raul on the 23.
There are 2 races of riders, for God's sake.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things. And now Raul, he did do well this weekend. Dropped like a stone in the sprint. Definitely had something up there.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'd rather see him drop like a stone, but going well than sitting in the back doing nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Yes and no. Yes. I would prefer not to see him on pole and finish or on the front row. I prefer to see him in the middle of the thing and finish 10th rather than on the front row and finish 10th.
No, true.
You know, and like in the sprint race, he dropped to 14th or 15th place or whatever it was, and today he finished, I think, 10th. I would prefer to see him obviously.
No, you know what? But at least if he's starting if he's starting on front row, you know the speed's in him. You know what I mean? He has the potential for the speed.
I would think differently. I would think like if he's within a second and battling for the top 10 consistently, rather than the odd fucking front row. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He dropped like a fucking stone in the sprint. I think it was 14th or 15th.
Yeah.
He went. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And today he was 10, and it's just you're just like, you know.
Well, the old saying: it's easier to stop somebody from crashing than it is to make them go fast. Is my point.
Yeah, but there's no one slow on that grid. There's no one slow on that grid.
That's the saying of generalities. It means that it's easier to get a rider to go, not crash.
I get what you mean, but right, like when you look at the lap times around that circuit, you would have fit about 15 or 20 riders within a second.
They are really down to the point.
So like. So my kind of my point here is like they're all fast. Do you know what I mean? Like it's and it's great to put in a one lap wonder and then fucking drop like a stone. But that actually, for me, that works as a reverse policy of like, okay, you can do one lap, but you can't do fucking 10. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of the Cal Crutchlow phenomenon, where you're good at biting the screen for one lap, and then your race pace is normally crap.
And you know what? When they're that close, how frustrating it must be. To be like Bez, where, okay, I'm 10th or 12th, okay? But I'm always 12th. I'm always just a fraction of a second off, but consistently a fraction of a second off. And you're going, how do I make up a fraction? I'm giving it, I'm giving it balls to the wall, and I'm always coming up a fraction. Where the hell do I pick up that fraction at?
And look, that's the very nature of competition, right? Do you know what I mean? It's like
it gets worse if the margin is so close and it's consistently like a fraction. It's not like, oh, I can make up a second. Well, I can find a second somewhere. You have hope. When you get it down to it's a hundredth of a second. Well, next time it's a hundredth of a second. You're going, Jesus Christ, where do I get this from?
Yeah, I get you. No, I get you. I don't disagree with you. It's just, I don't know. Someone moving backwards in the race is always not a positive thing for me. I would prefer someone to be a poor qualifier and go forward. Like if you look at it, I know Marc is not a poor qualifier, but like if you look at him, he went from 13th to 2nd or 13th to 3rd or 5th. Do you know what I mean? That he's going forward, he's making progress in the race, and you're like, okay. Then you can look at then you're trying to figure out someone who. And I think Pecco was kind of like this. It was like Pecco wasn't the best qualifier. Do you know what I mean? And like you look last year. Now he's figured it out. And then when he figured that out, then he would qualify up the front, but he would fucking lose spaces or places at the start of the race. And now he's worked on how to be aggressive at the first laps.
I guess I'm thinking about rookies. If they're a rookie and you're trying to judge them, would you rather have them be quick?
Maybe potential. So. Yeah, but Raul's not a fucking rookie anymore.
Yeah, I just thought about it. Yeah, he's not a rookie. Right? He's been at it for 2 years now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it 2 years? No, it's 3 years, isn't it?
Oh, 3 years.
This is his third season. Yeah, he did a year in KTM, isn't it? And then a year last year and anything.
Then that real fast lap turns into a fluke. More or less.
Well, you see, like all I say to the Miguel Oliveira fans and Raul fans is like, let's see in Silverstone. let's see where they are in Silverstone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they're up there, then they found something and it's good for them. But Raul is going to go backwards in Silverstone. I can guarantee it.
Yeah. Well, today, if somebody does well one race, he's the next, up and comer. Nobody's putting in anybody to the flame saying you got to be consistent with it. You notice.
Well, Raul's getting the full 24 now after the summer break. So next race.
So we should see an improvement.
I think he's going to go backwards first a small bit. Like it's a new chassis, new aero, new stuff to learn. Yes, he's probably had a taste of it in the test. In the test, so he knows what's coming. But again, race pace, race distance, you would expect that would be an awful lot of learning for him for a race or two. So, but like for Oliveira, you would expect him to be top 7 from here on in next 4 or 5 races to say, yeah, they found something and it's worked. And I say that, and I don't think I'm not sure. Look, one good race in 20 races doesn't make doesn't save your season or so. So it will be now. Saying that, it is contract time of the year. It's the perfect time to perform. I would think that he would be looked at for Yamaha, if I'm honest. Think Yamaha would be looking at him as well as Miller for the Pramac seat. Pedro Acosta, he genuinely looked like a rookie this weekend, if I'm honest. Genuinely looking at his pace, looking at how he was carrying himself, he looked very much so that he was struggling with a big bike in a small pond.
And that hurt, Mac. Let me tell you something.
Yeah. But I'll call it out. Like, look, I love to see the underdogs going fucking balls to the wall and go for it. Very easy this weekend to turn around and say, well, look, this is the return of the Jedi. Marc Marquez is going to be back on the top step of the box. He's going to be the Saxon king. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. Very easy to say is going to be Pecco or Martin too. Do you know what I mean? So you might as well go out there and go a little bit left field and be like, yeah, but wouldn't you love to see a youngster up top of the box giving them all the fucking finger and telling them, go, suck it, fuckers. You know what I mean?
It looks like you.
And this was his last chance to break the record.
Yeah, it was also his last chance, to break the youngest.
I don't think anybody's ever going to start the way Marquez started. What did he win? The first 11 races?
But look, I think that's kind of been. I think where it is that the age now has changed for young lads coming into Moto 3. So you can't ride Moto 3 in World Championships until you're 18 or 17 if you win the Rookies Cup or whatever. So even by the time someone gets to MotoGP, it's going to take them 2 or 3 years, maybe 2 years in the first category, 2 years in the second category. They're already going to be over. So for the foreseeable, it's kind of the last chance is really that you'll see someone attempt to go for it. So now, look, I could be wrong. Like there could be still young lads that are in there that are of age, but I'd like to see records broken.
I don't like that record broken because you know what? The problem I had with one guy with starting too young. The brawl I had with the team, but I don't like when the kids because kids they get too young. They have no sense of this is dangerous. This is bang, boom. They don't think of death. They don't think of injury like that. They don't.
It can happen. We've seen it happen. What Mavericks? I think his cousin.
Yeah, I was looking at a maybe 8-9-year-old on a most dangerous track I've ever seen, dirt tracking. Mm-hmm. I told everybody he can't ride. It wasn't even my kid, and I made sure he didn't ride. There was people flying everywhere. So,
yep.
Yeah, look, sometimes you have to save these guys from themselves, it's one of those. It is one of those things. But
I had to say something for him because the kid was 8-9 years old.
Oh, but like we see.
Happening.
Yeah. But look, we see that. Like we see that a lot in Ireland and the UK. They start, and even Italy, Spain. They're on the mini bikes 3 or 4 years of age, maybe even earlier. And that's I
don't believe that. Well, this was a flat track with iron side and iron plates up 5 foot high around the whole track. And
I link you the racing series. There is actually a junior racing series that you can ride little pit bikes.
No, this was
3-4 years of age.
250.
The helmets are wider than their shoulders. I'll put it to you that way.
Well, no, this kid was riding a 250 and he was 8-9 years old. And like 75 bikes on a quarter-mile track.
Yeah, look.
I was like, no.
I can't say anything because like we were riding bikes in the fields when we were that age, like little mini.
Yeah, so did I. I mean, my first bike. I was 9 years old, but this is not. This was just way out of.
Oh yeah, look, it is what it is. But like, kids these days, like, or sorry, not kids these days, but like competitions these days. If you're not starting early or if you're not in it early,
starting early,
you're wasting years, And
I think it's great kids riding around on a.
But like you hear Fabio and he's talking like, he's already been riding, or his career has already been 20 years.
Yeah, he was talking about retiring, right? Wasn't he
by 30, and he's like, at this stage, I've already been on a bike 20 years. Yeah. So look, it is quite common. Yeah, riding 250s at a 9-year-old is probably a bit much, but saying that, I've seen 9-year-olds on a 125 2-stroke racing. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, if it's a 254 stroke, it's kind of the same difference,
Well, this is a 250 2-stroke, but anyhow.
Yeah, but anyway,
the other. But I do believe in kids riding and mini bikes and stuff instead of sitting in front of a video game. I'll tell you that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, look, that's
in your chocolate cakes, and this is what they know of life. They think it's all something on a TV screen.
Well, yeah, look, there's always that, but like the babysitter at times can be handy as well for parents. Do you know what I mean? When they need 5 minutes peace, turn on the tablet or the PlayStation or whatever.
No, that's a different story. I mean, most of the parents, they let the kids sit there for 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
Live on.
I get you. Enea Bastianini, he had some battle actually. He was like, I actually felt sorry for him. The battle that he had with Morbidelli, really cost him any run at the thing because he was coming quickly. Do you know what I mean? And all of a sudden he got held up then by what's his name, Morbidelli. Maverick Vinales. I can tell you one thing anyway. He's definitely down an engine after his crash in qualifying.
Okay.
You saw that. Did you see the crash?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I reckon it was 2 crashes, 2 high sides in 1 crash.
Yes.
And then the bike then was on its side and continued or started to nuke itself. So
he was flying, and then
he fucking was. Yeah.
I mean, he was cooking along at a great pace, but that's with that crash. It's not an excuse for him. It's a reason that he didn't do well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he ran at all.
Yeah, I was very surprised that he was back out. I was more surprised he was out on Saturday, racing, as it only happened in qualifying, and it's another milestone as well for the likes of Fabio and Pecco. This was Fabio's 100th MotoGP start, I believe. And it was Pecco's 200 Grand Prix start, as in all classes.
Jeez.
So when you're looking at it like that, it's just they've been around a while.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? They have been around a while.
It's like the best of the best. I mean, we got the best of the best riders competing right now.
I think we're very lucky in the a lot of people say the machines are a thing. I think we're in a golden era of where I would go back to the 70s or 80s where we had multiple people at similar level.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone can win. Whereas like if we went like through the late 90s, noughties, even into like 2019-20, there was only kind of one, maybe two, maybe three standout people. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now I can name 6 or 7 that on a race weekend I'd be like, they could potentially be there. Just depends how they ride the bike. Like, for example, if you look at Enea Bastianini, I reckon he was on for second place the minute when he was behind Marquez, with obviously with Martin going out. I reckon Enea would have finished second if he got past Franco and went with Marquez. He had much more tire. He had much more of this. He had much more of that. You could see the battle with Franco raised the tire pressures and he was fucked. Do you know what I mean? Absolutely fucked from that. So for me, when I'm looking at it, you know, the racing is so much harder to call. It's easy to turn around and say, yeah, it's going to be Pecco or Martin or whatnot, right? And then something like this happens.
Sorry.
But then something like a race like today happens, you know what I mean? And like a race like today, right? Aero wasn't really coming into it. It was there. Rear ride height was only used once in the lap. Do you know what I mean? And it was kind of going back to, in a way, old school. Do you know what I mean? Because the corners are so slow. Like the corners are fucking slow, so slow.
It's a flowing track.
It's a Mickey Mouse track, for fuck's sake. It's a go-kart track. Like, do you know what I mean?
Trying to be nice.
No. Let's just be straight and fair. It's a Mickey Mouse track. It's a go-kart track. Do you know what I mean? And you know that when, how would I say, when everyone is so close together, lap time, you know that it is one of these small circuits that it's more, I would class it as more a mechanical grip circuit than anything else.
Yeah, that's why the Aprilia did so well.
Yeah, it's about it. Joe, the aero didn't really come into play. As I mentioned, the ride height was only used once.
The best aero, though.
Huh?
In that case, Aprilia is supposed to have the best aero.
It's no. They're
years been saying they had the best aero package.
No, they have definitely one of the most. They're on like, well, they have a really good. They have a really, really good. Is it the best? I can't say it's the best, and I don't think we can say it's the best because it's completely different from what everyone else is running. Do you know what I mean? And when you look at it, and you look at the Aprilia overall, the bike is almost there. It's very rare that you see an Aprilia overtaking someone in a straight line. You do see it occasionally, don't get me wrong, but that's more if they get a better drive out of the corner.
They're getting faster and faster a little bit at a time. You know,
they're working. They're working. Like, they're definitely the most elaborate aero package. Do you know what I mean? It's definitely.
Supposedly they're the best chassis, but Christ, Aprilia's always had the best chassis. They've been really good at chassis.
Yeah, well, look, yeah, like having a bike that turns is great. Do you know what I mean? But they all fucking have good bikes now that turn. Do you know what I mean? So that gap is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And like, what is the best? Is the difference between the best and the worst 2/10 a lap just on chassis? Do you know what I mean? And if it is, it's not much. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like Aprilia would be giving all away that 2/10 of a second in the straight line because they can't punch out of the corners like the Ducati does. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. Look, I think they're a very high end aero to spec. You can't disagree though. Anyone that's like, you look at the first, what is it, 5 bikes across the line today? Ducati.
I'm not saying they're better than Ducati, that's for sure.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's just, and like aero is one of those things that it's a correlation between mechanical and aero. Do you know what I mean? So it's
a package.
It's a package, yeah. So like it's strong on aero for Aprilia, I think, but is the complete package there? I'm not sure. Now, saying that, we'll find out next season once an alien actually steps over it.
Yeah.
gets used to it, and then we really see where they are. And the beauty with Jorge Martin is that he's not really that political. He will just say it how he sees it. So
yes.
So we will find out if the Aprilia is actually what people are.
You think he'll get a podium next season?
Oh yeah.
Oh hell yeah.
Oh yeah. You don't know. He might be fighting for the title, as far as we know.
I could see him definitely winning the Saxon.
I don't know about after seeing today. I don't know.
He just went down once, but that happens to the best of us. Best of them.
Happened Pecco too.
I was gonna say that happened. Yeah, didn't it happen the same exact corner? The first corner, he was in the lead.
Pecco
same way 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, but like if we look at it, like the championship is far from over. It's only like what 10 points.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's like 10. Yeah,
it's 10 points difference.
It's far from over. Like 2 years ago, we talked about this very point at this very time of the year, and I said Pecco was 91 points behind. He lost the rear in turn 1 in the Saxon ring, and I said he's in a situation now of shit or bust.
Yeah, you got nothing to lose. That was it.
Yeah, nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose now. And he came back and he pissed him. Like I will 100.
You're out of your freaking mind.
Yeah,
91 points. All right, good.
Yeah. Like it's.
Only had one too many beers.
Yeah, that's why I've been on water since. But no, I genuinely think, firstly, it's the wrong time for it to happen, but it's also a right time. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's the wrong time just going into the because you can't answer back for 3 or 4 weeks now, right? Because there's no more racing. Although it's a good time that he can just go and disconnect from everything. And like Pecco's launches for the past 2 weeks except for today's launch, have been fucking incredible. And I wonder, is there a new sneaky Ducati software or something for launch control in that, right?
Even today's wasn't bad either.
He did wheelie. Normally he doesn't wheelie.
It wasn't as good, but it was still damn good.
Normally but anyway, look, I think with Jorge Martin, I think they will give him the same standard of bike, but I don't think they're going to give him anything that's going to go across to next year's bike, anything new that's going to go across. So it will be interesting to see the second half of the season what will happen there. I think I think it's just going to be one of those things that it's going to be tough, I suppose. Do
you think they have to step it up as far as like the factory Aprilia, because they have an alien now, someone who knows what they're doing, so to speak. So they need to bring him to do everything they can to give him what he needs.
They're hyped up. I'm sure they are.
I think you're 100% right, because Aprilia have never really had a rider that demanded perfection, right? In the way of, like, when you look at it, if we were to talk about Silverstone now, right, Jorge Martin would definitely be in with the discussion of winning the race.
Yes.
So he'll go into that team expecting, like, at every weekend that they have the bike sorted, they have the bike ready, everything is perfect to allow him to go and win the race. Whereas Maverick was a bit hit and miss. El Capitan has only won on the Aprilia, really. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So he's never approached every race that I'm going to win this race. Do you know what I mean? I want to think in a kind of another way. They were kind of saying it would be nice if we were competitive. Hopefully we're competitive. It's a different demand that's going to come from Jorge Martinez, that we better be competitive. Do you know what I mean? And if you're not, you better.
You're saying, I want a title.
Yeah.
I mean, to keep it simple, he wants to. I want a title.
I want a title to add to my second or to my first one. Yeah, that's exactly what the way that like if you stop the clock right now, that's where his mindset is. He wants to take the title with him, and then he wants to win it. Second one, and it's kind of how would I say, like there's a few iconic moments in the rider's career. So, for example, and I always go back to this, right, where when Rossi and Honda were falling out because of whatever it was, and I believe it was because Rossi wanted something, and they were like, the bike is the main priority, and this, that, and the other, and then that's why he signed for Yamaha and whatnot. And he went out in South Africa, and he won the first race on the Yamaha. And no matter what Rossi did for the rest of his life, that cemented him as a GOAT. Do you know what I mean? Because at that time, if you wanted to win, you had to ride a Honda.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? The Yamaha, the Yamaha was one that would pick up the sloppy seconds if there was no other Honda there, right? And all of a sudden, then that changed it, and that changed the mentality of Honda or of Yamaha for 10 or 15 years. Do you know what I mean? They were developing the bike, they were pushing the limit, they were doing this, like the cross-plane crank came out, the whole 9 yards and whatever. And then Yamaha got into a Honda situation of the bike is good enough. Do you know what I mean? We just hire a good rider. Do you know what I mean? And so, like, kind of where it is now for Jorge Martin when he's coming in there, if he won the title on the Ducati and he comes in and he tries to win the first couple of races and a title with Aprilia, that will cement him as a GOAT. Do you know what I mean? It's just like there is no question of his ability, and no question can be had saying, "Oh, you only won because you were on the best bike." Do you know what I mean? I changed fucking bikes and I won still. Do you know what I mean? And I suppose that's where it's a little bit different for, like, if you were to take Marquez now, for example, he would, like, if he won on the KTM, say, you could kind of say, 100% go. Same sort of box with Rossi, that you went on to an inferior machine and you won, or he's gone the opposite way. He's gone off a fucking shit box and got onto one of the best bikes on the grid. Do you know what I mean? So, but look, I think it will definitely be interesting to see what Martin does. I think he will change the level inside in Aprilia.
And he's not bashful. You know what I mean? He's not bashful. I don't think he'll go in there and say, okay, whatever. Make it as good as you can. I think he's going to come in there saying, I want the best. I want you to do, he expects him to do the overtime. And so does Aprilia. They expect him to do all the testing and everything else.
Exactly. They're expecting him to win, so he's expecting them to come give him everything they need. I mean,
he's expecting them to give him something to win with.
Yes.
And that's where it is. And unfortunately, though, for Martin, he's hot-headed.
Yeah.
So
sometimes.
I think so different though. I think he's hot-headed. He'll open his fucking mouth, and then they'll be like, the Italian mafia will fucking shut him down. Like, do you know what I mean? And remind him, Now you have to remember, Rivola acts like Gigi in a very way of, like, he's very supportive. He's very this. He's very that. But you cross the line, you'll get your fucking ass kicked. Like, do you know what I mean? And it was a little bit different with Aleix Espargaro, because Aleix was already there and ingrained in the team before Rivola arrived. So there was kind of like a legacy of old management there. But now they're going to get two new riders, and it's really going to be a Rivola's fucking rule book that they're going to live by. Do you know what I mean? And I know from his F1 days, he won't stand for any shit or fucking crap that goes on. So while it's good to be passionate, he will have to watch his mouth too. I would somewhat say, But he will say the team fucked up or the bike is shit or whatever. You know what I mean? He will say that, but
I think you got to have a medium. Like it's okay to be passionate, but don't be, I don't want to say rude or whatever, but you shouldn't have to be
Like
cussing your guys out, slapping them around. Like that's a little unprofessional. That's unprofessional, I guess you could say.
yeah, but look, that's someone that's, and again, that's someone like, if you look at how Elish arrived into to Aprilia, right? Absolutely fucking no one wanted to ride the Aprilia, right? No one. Like Moto 2 riders were turning the fucking ride down. Do you know what I mean? That's how bad it was, right? And they had like in the team before that, they had a terrible reputation with Sam Lowe's, how they handled him, how they handled Bradley. So they handled people very badly. So that I guess that was when they were with Grassini, but again, that was more frustration. I would think that there wasn't a clear communication from factory to team to rider, etc. But when I just look at that, Rivola is going to have a whole new policy of how he's going to manage the riders. He's very supportive, don't get me wrong, but I think like what the shit that Elish used to get away with, I don't think is going to be the case with the two new riders. I don't think so. I don't think there's going to be any issue with Bezzecchi. He's normally quite a calm guy anyway. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think that there's going to be any issue there. Martin, if things aren't going his way, I think he can get very vocal, all right. Do you know what I mean? And that could lead to a couple of slaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I suppose we better talk about the Hondas.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
It's always tough.
I'm thinking about it. I didn't even notice because there wasn't anything.
No. To be fair, no. Let's be fair. We have to stay to our standard that we call people out if they do well. Luca Marini was not the last guy across the line this weekend, and he was also not the last Honda. So,
really,
yeah, Joe and Mir last Honda, battling with Stefan Bradl.
I'm seeing all the Hondas at the bottom. You got
yeah, but at least they have someone to race with.
They filled out the whole bottom besides Remy. Remy.
Like I actually, we do talk about Remy. I have to say this. I'm super impressed with Remy Gardner this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Really, genuinely am. He finished. I think it was it 50 seconds? I think 50 seconds behind Pecco.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And finished 30 seconds behind Fabio on his first race on a bike. I don't think that's pretty bad at all, considering he only finished 7 seconds behind the Hondas.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty good.
What was he riding?
Yamaha.
Yeah. So
Yamaha's better than Hondas anyway.
Oh, it is, but it just shows you how fucking bad the Hondas are, that the last two Hondas across the line were only 7 seconds ahead of a fella that hasn't been on a MotoGP bike in 2 years, and this is his first time riding the inline 4 MotoGP bike.
Beat by the pit bikes, you know what I mean? The little scooters, they're like the scooters are out bad, they're drafting them.
Yeah. No, look, it was one of those things. But no, look, I think Remy Gardner did really well.
Mm-hmm.
Honda's had another complete shitbag of a race weekend. Like it's actually starting to get a little bit embarrassing for them at this stage, or more than a little, but like you can see Zarco, like I said, I thought I could maybe get inside the top 10 with a Honda this year, and he's like, I was wrong. Like that's kind of a powerful comment coming out of there. But look, I suppose the only thing they can do is try and keep plugging away and keep doing it. I genuinely do think there's something very wrong there fundamentally.
They need an alien. They need
They don't need an alien.
No alien, not yet.
No. They do need an alien to get the bike up the grid so that one Honda is cracking on the top 10, right? But
Yeah, I was
saying
gonna
that,
say that. Yeah, try to get somewhere in the top 10 at
but
least.
what will happen with that is that if they bring in an alien and he's covering up the problems and riding
Yeah.
around the problems, Honda will then turn around and say, "Well, those problems aren't there." Do you know what I mean? Because your man there is able to get there, and the other three riders will be like this. What they need to do, very much so, is what Aprilia have done. Ordinary good riders that can have really good days. Don't get me wrong. And then put an alien on it, and that alien will bring that 2-3 tenths up, and so they'll have the confidence in the bike, and they'll be able to push the bike past the limit and whatnot. And
Exactly.
See, yeah, their thought process is backwards. You know, they're relying on the alien to do all the work. You know, when really it's, you know, they should use him to help them develop the bike and push it to the next level. But
he
now,
shouldn't develop the bike at all. The alien should not be developing the bike at all.
the other guys.
Yeah.
The ordinary riders,
Joe
because like
Average developed that bike. Joe
Mhm.
Average should go out. Or
Average.
average for them, for
Mhm.
MotoGP grid.
yeah, like guys within a second should be the ones that are developing bike, and that's what they have. They have 4 riders that, well, 3 that would be kind of within a second-ish. But again, the gap is massive. It's absolutely massive. They've done fuck all for 3 or 4 years, 5 years even.
Yeah.
They're not going to close that in a year. Not a hope, not a prayer. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if they don't understand aero and the bike dynamics and all of this before those new regulations come out, they're going to go into the new regulations with the same fucking problems.
Oh yeah,
right?
it's a
Do you know what
repeat
I mean?
itself.
So,
It's gonna repeat.
yeah.
But I'll give it to Taka though. He's at the top. He's at the top of the Honda. I don't
He
know.
is, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I try to give credit where it's due. I mean, I give him.
Yeah, look, the Honda, like the Honda Cup and the Japanese Cup are kind of 2 really important cups for them. But again, it's just when you're looking at it, like it's fucking horrific. It is. It's absolutely horrific. But again, saying that, it is a bit of karma coming back to kick you in the balls, right? You know what I mean? You slept, you went to sleep, you wake up, you lost Marc Marquez,
Hey,
and then you lost them not only to a satellite team first, but then another manufacturer came and fucking took them. Do you know what I mean? It's just, it's not a good news story for Honda. They lost Marc Marquez, they lost Repsol, they lost Red Bull, they lost a lot of, how would I say, brand identifying brands, if you know what I mean.
Red Bull, they lost Red Bull, right? Red Bull and Mark.
Yeah, Red Bull, Mark. They're losing Repsol.
Repsol, yep.
So they'll be back to.
If you recall, I went to school with a guy that right now he's I don't like him, but he develops bicycle chassis, but he did do motorcycle chassis, race chassis, and he says Honda, they're known for, they just won't listen. If you tell them they're wrong, they won't listen. If you tell them the proof's in the pudding, it comes out as bad, they still say it's right. No matter, they won't say. They turn the blind eye. They just don't listen. They turn their ears off.
But look, that's just the fundamental Japanese way, and I say that with the utmost respect, because Yamaha are in the exact same position, right? Okay, they may not be as bad, but they are in
trouble.
And like when you look at it, right, Yamaha have an engineering base in Italy, I believe it is. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, why aren't you listening to the Italian engineers? Now they're starting to let you know, when you're looking at it, like Yamaha hired Delara, major aerodynamics company, to come in and help them to understand it. They hired Marimoni for the engine, and they brought in, what's his name, Bartoloni from Ducati, vehicle dynamics and performance engineer, right? So Gigi's right hand man. So every secret that Ducati have for the 2020 up to the end of 2024, he kind of knows, right? So he's going to bring an awful lot of relevancy to it. like I would be expecting to see new bikes very soon from Yamaha and Honda,
Right.
To try and see if they can start closing that gap. Because remember, they can run extra engines, the new chassis and stuff like that. They can test them, but also they can change them. So it will be interesting to see.
They keep bringing new engines, but it's looking like nothing's changed. So I guess they have a lot of development in other areas they need to get.
See, this
I don't like the fact that this is something totally different, but the home fires aren't burning well. You know what I mean? Back in the production line bikes, you know, prices are going up, the quality's going down. It's you know, the Chinese are all over them, and they're not responding.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, but like again with what's going on, I think the Japanese they're just struggling to change that mindset. And listen, look, like it's a very hard thing to go into a corporation like Honda and Yamaha and say we need to completely change the way we do things, right? Because like I've worked in one of the biggest multinationals in the world, right? And I spent 10 years inside there, right? And trying to get the fucking simplest thing done or a policy changed or fucking whatever, it takes it's like turning a fucking oil tanker. You can get it done.
Yeah.
But you could be fucking 2 years trying to get new fucking eco-friendly toilet paper instead of the normal. And it's like it's not even fucking important really what you're doing, Joe. But it's just, we've done it like this all the way. Linear drive business cases, all this fucking bullshit. And then it has to go through all levels. And you're just like,
they're traditional. Yeah. Their culture is like that. They're traditional culture.
Yeah. And look, so like it's not calling them out for
people don't like change as a human race. We do not like change, but they're extreme.
Well, no, I don't say that.
If you're gonna buy a Honda, you make sure it's 16, 17 years old, the design. You know what I mean? You don't buy any new ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have another story about that. I had a guy screaming at me, going, not mad at me. He goes, "I want to be on your show." His Honda CBR 1000 RR blew up, and he wanted to be on the show. Bitch, I said, I can't do that. I said, that's over the top. You know what I mean? To have somebody just on bitch. I said,
well, you see, look, this is always the way that I am about bikes and stuff like this, right? 90% of the stuff that I've come across where engines have blown, gearboxes have done this, it's 99.9% operator error, right?
Yep. Yeah.
I revved the fucking balls off it, or I fucking didn't use the quick shift and just fucking booted it through the gears without the clutch. And look, I get it at times where, like, but when someone turns around to me and says, I blew a conrod, or I overheated my bike.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like going, okay, so you overheated your bike. Yeah, what were you doing? Well, I was in traffic, like.
Yeah,
you're like, okay, so you're sitting in traffic. You saw your fucking index going up. Do you know what I mean?
You didn't do anything,
and you did nothing. You just fucking stayed in traffic. You could turn it
off.
Right,
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? You could pull over for 10 minutes and go stretch the legs and leave it cool down and try and figure out how the fuck do I get out of this traffic faster, But they'll turn around and they will say, well, like, it's a fucking bike problem. Like, it's not my problem at all. Like, motorbikes they're made to be fucking ridden. They are, and they are ridden fucking properly, dickhead.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like everyone knows you have to have a degree of mechanical sympathy for your bike.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? You're not a MotoGP rider. You're not a fucking World Superbikes rider. Your bike is a standard fucking road bike that is built to do 40,000 miles. It's not built to do 700 miles. Do you know what I mean? It's just fucking not. Do you know what I mean? Stop riding it like it's supposed to be only 700 miles.
Get this. I got a guy. I see the video, right? He gets in his bike. He changes he drains out the fluid. refills the overflow. Okay, now you can see where problem's coming. Gets on the bike, gets on a turnpike. It's a traffic jam. He goes 2 miles. The thing is so hot, the automatic safety for heat shuts the bike down. Pulls it over. Lets it get cool where the bike will start again. Gets back on the bike, goes 2 more miles, it shuts down. Does it again, because that's the third one. Shuts down again. Third time this thing has shut down from overheating, not boiling, or there's no fluid in it, right?
Okay, yeah.
It sucks a valve. Okay? Like they spin valve when it comes out, the valve falls into the cylinder, the cap, mushroom cap. You know what he blames? He blamed the manufacturer. He said it happened before it left. I said, do you think you went 6 miles overheating with a valve bouncing up inside and down the cylinders before it stopped? I said, you out of your mind? He wrote 15 every time I put it. I said, this is your fault. Like all over this video, he wrote 15 separate videos on YouTube, and I kept shutting them down, every one. That's how I'll freeze it over.
Yeah, there's some people that are fucking just demented. But anyway, KTM,
a
bit disappointed in them, to be honest. Brad, top 10. Jack was battling with Augusto Fernandez in the race. Fuck it, you just don't know what's going on there, you know. Like as I mentioned, I think this was the first real race where I looked at Pedro and I said, Jesus, he's a real rookie. Do you know what I mean? Now, maybe saying that, look, and I still do believe that it's a fucking powerful bike to have around there. Like, do you know what I mean? So maybe he was struggling there. Maybe it was front end feel. I think it was kind of.
I think.
Huh?
I think it has the most horsepower now, isn't it?
Probably does. Yeah. Well, it's definitely one of the most aggressive engines out there. So, but yeah, look, it was tough weekend. Well, tough couple of weekends for KTM. Do you know what I mean? I do feel sorry for the likes of Maverick going there next season. I think it's going to be an eye opener. We all know how it takes Maverick a while to adjust to bikes. And I know people are going to turn around and say, oh yeah, but he was quite quick getting used to the Yamaha. Well, at the time, anyone could ride a fucking Yamaha, right? Any rookie coming into the series wanted to be on a fucking Yamaha because it was the easiest bike
to ride. Exactly.
Just so let's shut that one down for people whenever they want to be fucking saying this. But yeah, look, I think it's definitely been a weird season so far. Do you know what I mean? When I look at it, you know, the last couple of races have been dull, if I'm honest. But you know, you can't win them all, I suppose. You know, but yeah, next part of the season is going to be the interesting one. Do you know what I mean? It's they're going to go and relax and chill out, and hopefully no one crashes any cars in roundabouts and stuff like that. And there's no drama, and everyone gets back safe and sound. And Silverstone is the next race. I think it's 3 or 4 weeks time. 4 weeks.
August, first week of August, I think.
Yeah, I actually got it right. Remember from my holidays.
Best name of a racetrack ever.
Which
Silverstone. You know, it has the best. You know, the best name of any racetrack ever. You can't get a better name than Silverstone.
Iconic.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It sounds like it's going 200 mile an hour. You know?
Well, it is a fast racetrack, to be fair. It is. And the facilities there are absolutely brilliant. But it's a fucking boring race.
It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's just a boring race. Cool name, boring race. Yeah, but I think that's all from me anyway this week. We are in the summer break, so we will be messing around with some of the schedule of filming these. So if people are interested in coming on with us, do let me know. MotoGPMac@gmail.com, and we can try and slot you in. Because it's going to be a long 4 weeks without a race.
I know. This scheduling is
It's gonna be tough
for you, man.
Huh?
It got to be horrible for you.
I know, yeah. I kind of came to the realization of halfway through the race that I probably will be okay for videos this week, but next week I'll be pulling them out of my ass.
Yeah. You'd be like, how to make a cake look like a motorcycle.
Yeah. Rumor has it Maverick Vinales is changing his helmet colors.
Right.
Yeah. But anyway,
we'll give build tips and stuff like that. How about that?
Yeah, look, if I can go through winters, I can go through the 4 weeks of summer break. So, but anyway, on that bombshell, we will drop out and we will see everyone again next week.
Alrighty.
Hasta la vista.
Have a good one, folks.